Okay, this diagram is showing us how cells divide. We were talking about that a little bit with the last time with Virchow, and he saw cells dividing into two cells. Okay, the next topic we want to look at is something called homeostasis. Cells are specialized chambers, and inside of them there is a chemical environment which is kept balanced. In other words, the chemical composition of a cell is kept steady, or we talk about homeostasis, okay? And when a condition or a situation is kept the same, that is what we mean by homeostasis, staying the same, stasis. Okay, so if sodium ion goes into the cell, then a positive ion has to come out of the cell. Okay, we can make an analogy about this idea of homeostasis. Well, here are some of the factors. What's important to maintain with a cell is the temperature, the water balance. Okay, this is important. The nutrient intake, and the waste elimination. Okay, and you want to also prevent any chemical deficiencies or excesses. Okay, all of these things are important in understanding the idea of homeostasis within a cell. So, okay, so temperature, water balance, all these things want to be constant. Nutrient intake, waste elimination, and the prevention of chemical deficiency or excesses. So this is what we mean by homeostasis. We can make an analogy, okay, with homeostasis. You bring food into your house. If you did not throw out the garbage, you would certainly live in a pigsty, and that would not be a homeostatic condition. Okay, you have to make sure that the garbage goes out, things go down the sink, the toilets are flushed, because otherwise you're not going to be living in a very pleasant situation and your house will blow up. Okay, so the cell theory, the features were recognized at this time, and the cell theory, of course, is that all organisms are made up of one or more cells. Okay, if you're made up of one cell, then you're a unicellular organism. If you're made up of more than one cell, then you are a multicellular organism. The second idea of a cell theory is that the cell is the basic or fundamental unit of life. In other words, the cell is the smallest entity that can be called living. And as we saw, cells have a complex organization, okay, including a lot of metabolism. Okay, they have energy conversion reactions, they carry out protein synthesis, and they can also reproduce. Okay, we'll learn about how cells reproduce. And the other point of the cell theory is that new cells arise only from pre-existing ones, and that is going to be by cellular division. Okay, so all organisms are made up of cells. The cell is the basic unit of structure and function in all living things, and living things only come from other living things. Okay, these are the concepts that were established for the cell theory. Now, some organisms, okay, are made up of just a single cell, and so they're unicellular organisms, like this bacteria over here, which is already in the process of dividing itself. It's reproducing, but let's consider this bacteria before it divides. Up here we can look. Okay, and this bacteria is called Escherichia coli, or E. coli. And it's a harmless bacteria. It lives in our small intestines, but there are other strains of E. coli that are very dangerous. Now, most cells are too small to be observed without a microscope. And to give you an idea of the size of a cell, well, you could fit a string of about 2,000 cells across your thumbnail. So going from one end of your thumbnail to the other end across, you can fit about 2,000 cells. So that shows you that they really have to be tiny dots to get 2,000 tiny dots across your fingernail. Okay, that's how tiny a cell is. So most of them cannot be observed without using a microscope. Oops. Okay.